f of x is equal to x to the fourth minus 4x squared. So the two things we need is the degree. So the degree is going to be 4 since that's the largest exponent. And the leading coefficient comes from the term with the highest degree or the highest exponent. So this leading coefficient is 1. And so then we ask ourselves, our degree here is even and our leading coefficient is positive. And so you want to think about which graph does this remind you of? Or you can look at the statements here. So if we look at these, our degree is even. So that means that this graph and this graph is not going to be in our solution. So it's either going to be this one or this one. And then it's positive. So that means that our behavior is going to act like this one here. So the behavior will have the same behavior as this, which means that the graph rises right and graph rises left. So here I would say that the graph rises left and rises right. Okay. So if I graph that, you can see what it looks like. So we have x to the fourth power minus 4x squared. And so you can see that the graph rises up on the right and rises to the left. Let's look at letter B. So the degree for letter B is 3, and the leading coefficient is 1/4. So my degree is odd. My leading coefficient is positive. Okay. So since it's odd, it's going to be letter C or letter D, and then the leading coefficient is positive. So we're looking at this behavior. So when we graph this, all we know is that the graph is going to rise to the right. So you have something over here and it falls down. And we don't know exactly what happens in between, which we will figure out in later sections. So for now, we just want to know what the behavior is. So I'm going to say the graph rises right and falls left. And again, it rises right and falls left because the degree is odd and the leading coefficient is positive, so it's going to have this same behavior. The next one, the degree is 6, leading coefficient negative 3.6. So this is even and this is negative. So we look at our possible graphs here. We're working with these two since their degree is even. And then the leading coefficient is negative, so that means that the behavior will act like this one here. Okay, so we can say that the graph falls right and falls left. Okay, letter D. So here we have to be careful. Notice that all the other problems, these were already multiplied out. But here we have parentheses. So you want to make sure that your polynomial is multiplied out. So negative 3x squared times x is negative 3x cubed. My positive 3x squared. So we're distributing this. And this is times x plus 4. So negative 3x cubed times x is negative 3x to the 4th. Negative 3x cubed times 4 is negative 12x cubed plus 3x squared, 3x cubed plus 12x squared. So let's check again. Negative 3x cubed times x is negative 3x to the 4th. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12x cubed. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. 3 times 4 is 12x squared. So my degree here is going to be 4. My leading coefficient, negative 3. You can add these terms. So this is actually 9x cubed. So since my degree is even, and I have a leading coefficient that's negative, then that behavior is going to be an even degree with a negative leading coefficient. So it's going to act like this. So we say the graph falls right and falls left.